Hello, welcome to another episode of Step by Step Podcast with me, Karen Wahungu. I'm very excited to have you listening in today. It's an honor and a privilege. And I'm also very privileged to have a very dynamic guest with me today, Sophie. Karibu, Sophie.
Thank you.
Before I let you introduce yourself, I wanted to read something that I saw in your bio on your socials.
Yeah.
The various titles, I don't know what you'd call them. It says Christian, daughter of a king, mother, aviator, entrepreneur, political oriented, manu fan. Are you all of those things?
Absolutely all of those things, but Manchester United shall be the end of me soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you can introduce yourself in all your
Well,
fullness, however way you want us to know you.
okay. Let's say everything written on that bio is me.
Yeah.
I love seeing the fact that I'm a Christian because I'm a huge believer in Christ, my faith. I think this life is too hard to live without a belief in a higher being. I am a mom. I have two kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 10-month-old now. And I love them to death. They give me perspective. I think they make me a better person because I'm more driven. I know what I want for them. I want to be a better person because of them. I believe I'm a daughter of a king. A king because, okay, my dad is a big deal. I find him to be a big deal. But I also believe I'm a daughter of God. So that's really a big part of why I love calling myself that. I'm an aviator, though I haven't flown for a long time, but I miss the skies. But till I die, I will forever be an aviator.
Yeah.
Politics, whoo, that's one day shall be
I
the
know.
president of this country.
Yeah.
But politics is also a really huge part of me, and I'm trying to navigate that space mostly through what I'm creating, my content. But other than that work, I am a digital strategist and a virtual assistant. Yes.
That's amazing. And I think it's important for people to know how we know each other as well.
Yeah.
So we met a few years ago. Not really few.
Yo, child.
Now there are many.
Those are many years.
Now there are many.
About it.
Yeah.
How many years?
But we met in high school
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. Let's go with a couple.
Yes.
A couple of years ago. So do you remember anything from that time? Like how you knew me or...
You were a class behind me, but you were composed. I can say that over all the craziness that we were going through. Composed. And I think you always stood out for your soft-spoken yet firm nature. Like you're soft, but when you say something, someone be like, okay, I need to take this girl seriously. Yeah. I think
amazing.
You.
Yeah.
I see your hair. Yeah.
That's amazing because I think when I try to remember back in high school, I think we were acquaintances. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I think we had some common friends.
Yes.
Yeah. But I remember even back from high school, like since the first time I met you, like when I was in Form 1 and you're in Form 2, you just had this presence. Najwa?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, this person is a big deal. At that time we were like 15.
We were young.
You know, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Like there was just this presence and it could have been a little intimidating. I don't know if you get that as well.
A lot.
Have you had such comments?
A lot.
Because I feel
from
like
the
you were
men.
pretty young, but you just had this presence and...
Yeah. Even from men. Like you're not approached, or when you're approached and you're in a relationship, it becomes too hot because you're a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a nice thing. Now I know it's a nice thing. Like you have this presence about you. It's a nice thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think before we go into the conversation that we have today, maybe you can tell us briefly from post-high school till the person that we see here today. How's life been? What have you done?
When we're in high school, we were always told like, read, get an A, and you'll be anything you want in this life. So I can say for me that was my biggest detriment. That was believing that fact was my biggest downfall.
Yeah.
Because ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot. Like, always you'd ask me, what do I want to be? A pilot. What do I want to be? A pilot. Always. Even when it came to time for choosing unis, I had such a hard time because at that time, unis were not offering aviation. So now you have to choose something that iko kwa hiyo uni kwanza. Then now you can think about your aviation. So I just chose for the sake of it, you know.
Yeah.
But when we finished high school, did well, got straight A's. Immediately when I finished high school, I didn't even wait for my results. I got into Strath, did business IT. But that's not where my heart was. My heart was still uko kwa ndege. And I always used to hear Mr. Muturi at the back of my mind telling me the way I can be anything I want to be in this life with my A's. So when my parents asked me, okay, so now nikaitwa JQuat for civil engineering. Imagine I backed that thing down because
you're
really
focused.
wanted to, like, my eyes are on the prize, flying. But that is the biggest thing I regret doing in my life, not going to study civil engineering, because I ended up doing flying, yes, but COVID came. It really plummeted my life down because immediately when I'm done is when COVID is here. So people are being laid off, even people who have 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours. You're thinking, where now your 200 hours, who'll give you a job? But a blessing in disguise, because it took me to the depth of myself. Like, I had to sit myself down and decide, okay, now I have bills to pay. I'm a young mom. I became a mom at 22, guys.
That's something.
So legit young. But
22.
you're imagining I'm a mom at that time, so I have bills to pay. So I need something. So I had to get myself out of my comfort zone. I realized I'm good at digital stuff, so I upskilled myself as much as I could. And with my background of business IT, I believe I was able, like, to get a footing. So I learned how to be an assistant and a digital person. And here we are today.
So that's what you're doing currently.
So currently, I'm working with a friend of mine. She's actually my classmate in school. She goes by the brand name Rubiaka. So I'm her brand manager and personal assistant. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think when you were coming, I was telling you, it's amazing. Like, you have to be very dynamic and very flexible because it's very uncertain. Things are quite uncertain right now. So you have to be very adaptable, dynamic. Was it a struggle transitioning? Like, you had really a very focused path that you wanted to take, and now you have to do something totally different. Like, was it a big transition?
Yeah.
It was.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
To the point that it got me to thinking, and then, here's the worst. The people who you were in high school with at the time, my friend. Pressure. Wanaishi the life.
Pressure is real.
Kenya walikuwa wanataka kusoma ndio wanasomea. Wengine wameenda UK, wengine wako SA, wengine wako... Na wewe hapa, your life is at a standstill. You're feeling like, yo, I really wanna die. Like, if guys are reaching out, see, guys, if we organize a reunion, I'm like, nitajificha wapi? Because
reunions have pressure.
I have nothing to show for all the hard
reunions
work.
are a lot of pressure. And now that I think it's like around 10 years post high school. So, like, people have done a lot. You say, like, you're a mom of 2. Like, it's a whole lifetime. Like, people have done a lot. So there's that pressure that comes with reunions.
My classmates are on my masters. They're like, friends. Okay. We're meeting to tell each other what? So that you guys can judge me. No. Certainly can't be like a reunion. But I have come to understand that God has a way of aligning your life. Uruke, ufanye nini. If it's not God's timing, it's not God's timing. And the thing that encourages me is the story of Joseph. The end, if you look at his end and where he was here, unajua kuna the beginning and the end and the middle part. If he would have lost himself in the middle part, he wouldn't have gotten to his end. So I feel like here in this middle part is where personally I'm at for discovering myself, re-establishing myself on what I want and what I can accomplish in this life, and really ensuring that I remain relevant. The goal is not to become redundant. The goal is to remain relevant, to be as dynamic and as versatile as possible, to remain indispensable. And that's what us young people, we don't understand. And I like that I have made all these mistakes in my 20s. Because now in my 30s, I'm going into my 30s with a lot of perspective. I can't make this thing. I'd be so stupid. Yeah.
That's interesting. But even before Tuendele, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about social media. You see, like, you're speaking here and saying how you've made so many mistakes. I wouldn't know that by looking at Sophie on the socials and everything looks okay. I'm like, Sophie, Sammy, sometimes I get that pressure. I'm like, people look like they have their life figured out. They have children. I'm like, I don't even know how I would fit a child into my life right now. So I think social media is something. Because I wouldn't say like Sophie has any struggles.
You wouldn't even think,
Yeah, I just feel like it's the same Sophie, the very ambitious, what Sophie that I knew. So I think it's a reality. Even as you're saying, like there's people abroad and all those things.
Yeah.
I think social media is not really a good standard to weigh things. You wouldn't know.
That's true. You wouldn't know. And it's a call also, and a wake-up call to those who have invested their life in being in that space of social media, to be realistic if you actually want to make an impact. There's there's what social media can give you. There's fame, but social media can be used to create impact and influence. If you use this space in particular to show young girls like ourselves that, hey, it's okay. In your 20s, it's messy. In your 20s, it's hard. In your 20s, you're allowed to make mistakes. When a girl who's 18, 16, 20 listens to this podcast, they'll be like, hey, okay, kunaendanga hivi. So they're able to manage themselves, especially with their emotions, based on what life throws at us. But us, the problem is we're so used to an idealistic way of living that we still show people idealism other than being realistic.
Yeah.
I have gotten to the point where I'm so rock bottom, I feel like, God, because I can't kill myself. Please just take me in my sleep. And then when I think about killing myself, I think about my kids. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I have to pick myself up no matter what. And I have been, do you know, have you ever experienced a toxic parent? Oops, sorry. But
not really.
I have been in a position where I have experienced a toxic parent as well. So it can be hard on you as a young person. But for as long as you know what you want to achieve out of this life, and for me, nimekwambia nataka kuwa politician, a better Kenya, a better country, a better person than I am, that just keeps me going no matter how hard it is.
That's amazing. You say a toxic parent, I can't relate. My parents are like my support system, 100, I sometimes even try to think about it. I'm like, if I didn't have my parents, they're such a big part of who I am. So I can imagine how much more difficult it is if you don't have that support. Because it's crazy. You need some good support system, family, whether it's parents, siblings, but at least something.
Yeah.
But you turned out okay.
I turned out okay. And I have been deliberate about staying okay so that I break the cycle. Like every hard thing I'm experiencing, it will end with me. And not that I'm planning to raise spoiled kids and all. No. But every other uncertainty, I will choose to be the person who protects those children so much that they'll always know, come with me, no matter what. You flop today, your mama is going to be there for you until the very end. I want to be that person. And I think young people, we are really having a hard time because our parents are really not understanding. They're on our necks like, ebu angalia Karen, she's an advocate. Wow, utakuwa nini, uko tu hapa, unajifanya venye we ni pilot. Like, our parents are our biggest downfall. Because instead of supporting you, they're just showing you how, in this dark moment you're in, you're just not fit to be my child.
Yeah.
But as a parent and as a young mom, I want to shield my kids from every single thing I've gone through. Everything I have fought by myself. I don't want my kids to fight by themselves.
They don't have to fight the same battles.
They don't.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because people have so many scars. I think I've experienced that a lot in relationships, where maybe you meet someone who's from a difficult background, maybe the parents or whatever. But I feel sometimes people don't try hard enough So I like that you're saying like you'll do whatever it takes
Yes.
to break the cycle.
Yes.
You know, you want better.
Yes.
And I think like you have to want better.
Yes.
Otherwise things can't be different. It will just be the same vicious cycle. So I think it's really nice that you're being intentional.
But do you realize people don't go through an introspective phase of niko na shida? People want to always idealism again.
Yeah.
You want to always believe that you're okay. You're not part of the problem. But if you're introspective just to a level extent, you're able to call yourself on the side. You're like, Sophie, the way you handle anger, the way you handle stress, the way you're not really being productive. Come back, find another way of dealing and deal with it differently. But people are like, you're self-harming, you're destructive, but then again you don't want to accept it. So you keep passing down the problem. So if I was brought up in a family where my mom is always shouting at me, I don't want to accept that. Like for me, I found myself being a shouting parent, but I call myself on the side. I'm like, I don't want to be a shouting parent because I grew up being shouted at. I don't want to shout at my kids so that even them, they don't have to be shouting parents.
Yes.
So now, you see, I've accepted. I'm a shouting parent. So I don't want to be a shouting. I don't want to pass that thing.
Yeah.
So now it's part of the change. I've accepted first. So now every single time I find myself I'm in a position I feel like I want to shout, first I pause. I don't want to shout. Tutafanya hivi, Mikhail will do this pole pole, you know. Yeah.
That's lovely. You know, when I first spoke to you about coming here, this has been a long time coming, Sophie.
I'm really sorry.
I think you should even apologize to
Yes,
you listening.
I'm really sorry.
Because there's an episode I'm supposed to upload. There's an episode I did, and I was trying to like explain, you know, the challenges. Because I think I haven't been as consistent as I would like to be.
Yes.
But as I was telling you even earlier, sometimes the challenge, like scheduling people, it's sometimes a bit hectic and all those things. So it's been a long time coming, but I'm glad that you're finally here. When we first spoke, you told me you're passionate about so many things.
Yeah.
So Jotakama, if I remember all of them, you said tech, environmental conservation, so many things. And I think you can speak to them a bit later on. But I was like, that's great. But I was just like, how about we just have a conversation about life? You know?
Yes, let's do that.
How tough life is. Yeah. Because as we were saying earlier, no one ever prepared us for this. Like, it's really tough. Adulting is really tough. I think a lot of times we talk about midlife crisis. Though right now people are embracing the term quarter life crisis.
Yes.
So I think that's really real. Like towards your late 20s, or let's say just from mid 20s, late 20s, in your 30s, trying to establish yourself in every way, whether it's career, relationships. It's a lot. Like no one ever prepared us for what it would be. There's this song, The Scientist. You know The Scientist by Coldplay? It's a love song.
Yeah.
But the line that that touches me when they say no one ever said it was easy, but no one ever said it would be this hard.
Yeah.
It used to be a love song, but to me right now it's life. I'm like, how comes no one ever said that it would be this tough? You know, just trying to establish yourself in every way. So now that we are the same age, I don't know if you like saying your age.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Squeezy, I usually say I'm in my late 20s. So now that we are in our late 20s, how is life for you? Because I found life to be quite challenging. You know, I've found ways to adapt and still do the things I want to do. Yeah. But it's really tough. How is life for you?
Well, 2023 was super, super tough for me. It was, there's even a post I did on IG. And I was like, I think the thing I love about rock bottom is there's no place further down. You've reached the end. You're at your rock
in the
bottom.
Basement of rock bottom.
So the only thing left for you now to do is to rise. It doesn't matter how slowly you'll rise, but there's no place further down than where you are at the moment. 2023 was hard for me because I was going to being a new mom again. I was feeling like I haven't, like the girl in Mahil in 2013 carrying my box out of Mahil. The girl I wanted to be by 2023, I wasn't even close to being half that girl at all. So I felt like the pressure in our late 20s, that flow is there. It's peeping, it's coming. I'm seeing you, it's there. So I'm like, do I really want to carry this uncertainty to the third floor? Do I really want to feel like I don't have footing, like I'm still trying this, I'm trying this, I'm trying this? I don't have one thing that I can be known for as Sophie, and this is my thing, and I'm going to 30. So for me, life has been tough on me emotionally. Like, first of all, figuring out my emotional intelligence has been a turmoil. Because, but then I also feel like we were born in a time where our parents were really building. Unajua kwa phase ya life kuna building phase. Na building phase ni ile, you wake up, you leave saa zenye ni usiku, you're leaving, it's at night. You come back, it's at night. You left me before I went to school. I went to boarding in class 1. So I was never around my parents. When I come home, my mom is a hotelier. So my parents are separated. My mom is a hotelier. My mom is always busy. Like 24/7, she's busy. She goes when I'm asleep and comes home when I'm asleep. See, I'm alone the whole time. Either I'm with a house girl who is bullying me, or like I'm alone that entire time. So I've had to navigate so many emotions and so many things. But my mom did her best in that time. I salute her. Sana. She really gave me a soft life. Like, if you could have come to where we were living and the life we were living, and you see me outside, unaweza sema tunaishi Runda. The life my mom has given me. But then you see, it also had another downfall because she was never there. So when I was going through the age of transitioning, getting my period, reproductive, my mom wasn't. My parents are separated. So love na kujua boys and all, my dad is not there. So I'm navigating this world on my own from the get-go. So it's been hard for me since I was a kid. You see, you finish high school, you come out here, and then you hit with the culture shock for, this is how life goes. Okay. And mine was crazy times 10 because I didn't have a phase of being a girl, like the way you are, living by yourself, having your own space. Finish campus, got pregnant. Getting pregnant is crazy because, see, you're everything to this kid. You can't go out, you can't. So really, you even end up losing friends because you're not in the same space. Sadly, you're not in the same space. So life is harder even now because now you don't even have a lot of friends. The few that you have feel like you're a lot because you have a baby, you have another life other than theirs. So if anything, you're not a priority to them. They're not investing in you. So uko solo. Most times you're alone. And when you're alone, the devil can come into your mind to show you, first of all, you're not productive, to show you that other people are doing way better than you, to show you you've gotten pregnant. But then you should even have aborted because, look at the way your life has stagnated. Akuna jobs, akuna, like there's every single reason around you. So I realized, by the way, if I continue allowing the things around me to determine my feelings and to determine the way I see life, I won't be able to manage. So someday I just told myself, I can't allow myself to sink and sink and sink. And because I still know the person I want to be, the goals I want to accomplish, what will I do? I'll have a perspective. I'll have this girl in my head that I want to be. So this girl never leaves my head. The ideal Sophie, the classic Sophie, the bougie Sophie, the ever achieving Sophie, that girl is always in my head. So when I'm feeling kidogo suicidal, I remember that girl and I'm like, let's get back to track. When I'm feeling like I'm losing myself, I'm losing a job, I'm in a job that is toxic, I remember that girl and I'm like, would that girl stand this toxicity? Apana, I leave. I feel like the first way to navigate hardship in life is to have a deep connection with yourself. You, kama Karen. What's your connection? You and your deeper inner self. Once you and your inner self are in sync, you'll be able to navigate any little thing that life throws at you. And I'm a mom of 2. So let me tell you, life has thrown at me a lot. Having a sick kid, the baby's there, they're sick, they're crying, you don't know what to do, they can't talk. Yeah. Until you have navigated something like that on your, and gotten yourself to the other side, then you understand how fundamental it is to be in sync with yourself.
Yeah.
But you also have to be intentional about learning who you are. But then again, who you are is dynamic. You're not the same girl you were when you were 20. I'm so sure.
Definitely.
You're not the same girl. You probably don't even want the same things you wanted when you were 20. Maybe you don't even like the same guys you liked when you were 20. Yeah.
Definitely. But motherhood is a lot.
It's a lot.
Part of the reason I think we kept on rescheduling
Motherhood.
is motherhood.
Yeah.
Because you have to ensure the kids are okay, the kids
Yeah.
are what, so it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Like I said, for me, I've experienced, you've spoken also to like state of mind and all those things that you can get to a very dark place. I've experienced those moments myself, and I've even shared here, like those bouts of extreme sadness, feels like it's bordering depression. It's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine the added stress that comes with motherhood.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, my life is difficult as is,
Yeah.
and it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just taking care of me. Just have to
Yeah.
ensure I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yes, support people here and there,
Yeah.
but not really like I have any serious financial obligations or serious any emotional obligations to someone else. It's
Yeah.
just me. But I just think, being a mom, hats off by day. You make it look nice.
Hey.
Being a mom of two, but I bet it's a lot.
It's a lot.
So for me, I started therapy last year.
Wow.
Because it's one of the things I wanted to explore in 2023.
Yeah.
Having gone through these difficult phases, I was like, one of the things I want to try is therapy. And it's been great. It's been a nice experience. I think I'll actually do video like telling, or an episode, just telling people how therapy is like. And I've done a couple of sessions, I think about 7 or 8. Yeah, and it's good. So therapy is not necessarily the only way, but there has to be a way. How do you deal with those challenges when you have like those very crazy moments with very dangerous thoughts and everything just feels overwhelming?
Yeah. I feel like having a personal relationship with God goes a long way in keeping you still. Still, as in, you'll remember what God says in the Bible. Like, He says, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. So, no matter what is happening around you, there's that calming, stilling thing that tells me God is there with me. Other than the God factor, my dreams, they're just too big for me to allow myself to sink. I cannot sink. Let's say, for instance, even high school wasn't easy for someone, especially for me.
For me as well.
If you can say
high school life to me was really difficult.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was as difficult for you.
Correct. I was suspended when I was going to Form 4.
I remember.
For something that I didn't
It was
even
something
do.
big.
I was like, so even for me at that time, what kept me going was my dreams are still too big. Like, you people, you're judging me for what you don't know, for your own speculations, for what you feel like you want to accuse me for. But you still don't know my dreams. When I go to bed, you don't know what I'm dreaming about.
But then, before we talk hapo, I'll just ask without going into detail or whatever happened. How was that for you? Because I remember it was something big. I just think our entire school system, an education system, needs a serious overhaul. Besides just the curriculum. Curriculum is one thing. So now you're a CBC ma'am. Yes, besides curriculum, just the system. Because for me, that's why I'm surprised that you had a difficult time. You look like you were winging it.
Friend.
But now for you, what was that experience, especially that instance that you've mentioned? What was that like? As in, imagine that person was young. Ebu look at a 17, 16-year-old right now and imagine the things that you're being subjected to. How do you feel about it now?
It's traumatizing. It's even a fact that has made you take several steps back in your life if you think about it from a third person perspective. As in, when I came back to school, now Form 4, see, the whole school knows why you were suspended.
Exactly.
So first of all, everybody's looking at you na zile machoza. Okay. And then, okay, so now I can't be friends with my friend who was suspended with because munatushuku, so munatu suspend. So the person I was feeling safe around, first, no, I don't even have a safe space. everybody knows what has happened to me, teachers included.
Mm.
So what I told myself, nikirudi hiyo shule, because Mrs. Barasa gave me another chance. She was like, there's no way I'm letting your A go, and I know you're going to get an A, so you'll just stay in this school. Even if everybody around me wants me to suspend you, like expel you, you won't go. You'll stay, and I know you'll make me proud. So it's like, at least for that one person who believes in me, I'll conquer all this bullshit. And then,
But it's bullshit. It's
and then
okay
I
to
went.
say it. There was a lot of bullshit in high school.
I decided I'll just go undercover.
Mm.
And then what will just tokelezea there is my performance. So I remember it got to third term. Mrs. Kimani was going around the whole form for telling people, you should be like Sophie. Tulimwonea lakini say yeye ndio ana perform vizuri. You should be like her. I was like, now when ulikuwa among the first people kusema nifukuzwe kwa shule, I can't even believe that is what you're saying. That gave me such a hard time. And I can tell you for a fact, like the person who was behind that mission, until today, I don't think I've ever brought myself to forgive her. And I don't think I ever will.
But you should forgive.
I don't know, Karen. Like
one of the things, Sophie, if I may comment, I don't remember you being so spiritual and religious.
Yes.
Were you always this way? Or this is something that has advanced? You've always been this way?
Only that it wasn't prevalent to that extent for you could see it at your means.
It was low-key.
Or, yeah, it was.
Because now, the reason I'm saying that is, you see, even the conversation we are having off camera, like you keep making reference to God and faith. Okay. It's really a big part of who you are. Yes. And I'm not like putting you on the spot. But don't you think now that now you're walking in that light and that path, then you should be able to heal from certain scars? Of course, it's not like a magical thing that happens, you know, but now you're more willing to forgive and just move on from really hurtful things.
Well, part of the biggest reason why I am intentional about growing my spiritual nature is the fact that I am a mom. Because, you know, we thrived and survived and have thrived and keep thriving and surviving off the prayers of our parents. And I got up and asked myself, if my mom prayed me into protection, into my A in Form 4, into that as one of the biggest victories of my life, passing that much out of everything I went through. And I believe had it not been for my mom's prayers, I wouldn't have gotten that far. So why not do the same for my children? Even if it means sacrificing a few things that people think is okay. Yes, that's part of the biggest reason why I'm that serious with my relationship with God. But then again, the fact that I trust and believe in God doesn't make me a perfect being.
True.
So it's a journey.
And it doesn't erase everything that
happened. It doesn't erase my humanity.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a journey, and it's a journey of, you know, healing. For me, healing is like even healing from my childhood, healing from the things I have gone through. I haven't even healed from those. So tuseme tuna heal pole pole from huko tuna heal from. Now, at least I'm back to having conversations with my father and being open to trying to connect with my dad. That's part of traumas I'm healing from. So I think, hey, before tufikie high school, kwanza tukona kazi.
It'll take some time and some effort.
Yeah.
Though I agree. But now that you're a mom, I'm sure like you're very aware about everything that's around.
Yeah.
School, if it's the system in school, all those things, you know, because now you have a direct interest.
Yes.
So what do you think, like based off how our high school experience was, or school in general?
Yeah.
You said you went to boarding in class 1. That's something. I was just in boarding school for 4 years during my high school, and I did not like it, not at all. But then sometimes I share with my friends, and not everyone had that experience. That's why I also didn't think for you it was such a bad experience.
Yeah.
But it was really tough. And for me, I feel like our education system needs many reforms.
Yes.
Though I think things right now are a bit better.
Yeah.
I think also the generation that has come after us are also very bold.
Yes.
Do you know, after we left school, that high school,
the
following year, or like 2 years after, I had people had planned a strike. Did you hear something like that?
I
was like, in what world?
During
our time, you could not even conceive such an idea.
Yes.
I would hear tea what was that thing called? Sneaking.
Yes.
I'm like, where? In this
Yeah.
school? As in, it was like a prison.
Yes.
So yeah, I know we're focusing a lot on that school time, but it's important because it has shaped
To
who we are
unpack. Yeah.
10 years on.
Yes.
But it has deep-seated consequences and
Yes.
effects in our
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
So for you, what would you say are some of the reforms you think need to be done? Though I know things are changing.
Okay, we recently opened a group, an alumni group here, Mahil. When that group was opened, do you know, people spoke so much about their experiences and what they went through in
From
the
your
hands
class
of
group?
teachers. No,
The entire
like,
group.
see, there's this group that has now that we're
community.
trying to bring
Because
exactly.
for me, I've seen like we're
Yeah.
conversing, but within my
There's the community,
Yeah.
and then now there's
the class
the
groups.
group, and then now the individual class groups. In
Oh,
this
so in the
group that
group.
has everyone from all the classes, when it was first like getting the hype,
Yeah.
people spoke so much about their sad experiences in the hands of teachers. I was asking myself, how to do these teachers go and sleep at night and even enroll their own children to other schools, and they're like that to other people's children. It's absolutely berserk, because you're imagining this child. Okay, like the other day another parent wrote that she took her kid to school. Her kid had hair like yours. Akaambiwa, in this school kila mtu hunyoa, so please go back. And the child is needy. Let's start there. So the parent doesn't have the option of saying, see, I'll just take you to another school. Your hair is more important than this. This child has been called to this school on merit, and there's no other place you're going. You're studying in this school. Imagine she had to shave. Karen, can you imagine having to shave your hair at the gate of a school? Ni nywele inasoma ama ni akili yako you get?
I think there were many things that didn't make sense.
You know, so the things, why are we focusing on the things that are not making sense? Let's focus on my abilities, my mind. I'm not strong in books, but I'm a strong hockey player. How can you help me merge the two? I feel like in our last year in Form 4, our teachers made a huge difference in our lives, because
Positively.
we were split. Yeah, positively, we were split, and each of us was given a mentor. Like, ulikuwa unamuita dada, mama.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You remember
my
that
school
thing?
dad.
So that, I feel like that part really contributed a lot to many of us performing well, because now then at that time you had a place you could run to.
Someone you
feel
can
scared,
speak to.
you go and speak to them. You feel like, "Guy, it's not working, cases is coming, you have the pressure, you go." So how about we start that system when people are in Form 1? And it doesn't even have to be the same person until Form 4. You go changing someone you feel like you can trust, someone you can go to, and also the fact that we can embrace people being different. I don't have to be an A student for you to love me. There's a thing for teachers. They love you because you're passing.
Definitely. But I think that would probably change. I don't know how you assess CBC as a parent, but I think if we try to focus on a different way of assessing performance, it helps.
Yeah.
But I think it's because of how our education system was. The target was like get good grades eventually, whether it's a primary level or high school level.
Yeah.
But I think it's changing gradually. I hope that's where we'll get to.
And also, do you think if therapy and counseling can really be made a thing in school?
Absolutely, it should be very mainstreamed.
Do you think it can make a difference?
It will. Back to the alumni group that you're talking about, in our class group now.
Yeah.
Our year. We were having a conversation around sexual education, and just going back to the guidance and counseling sessions.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing shade to anyone, but I don't know what guidance and counseling that was. And even like serious awareness about certain things. You're like at a very vulnerable age, but there's nothing tangible, like serious information that is being given. So yes, it's guidance and counseling, but it's even just the whole system. Hey Sophie, I think there's so much we can say about
I know.
but
But it also then comes down to us as the current generation that can bring about change. What can we do? And I feel like that's why I'm heavily invested in this alumni group, because I'm like, this is one way in which we can change the lives of those girls who are at the back there. If we can offer another perspective to the leadership of the school, for them to see, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but then again, we can still tweak tweak a bit of things kidogo and still make this experience different for the girls. Yeah.
I think people listening to us think that you are probably in the worst high school. It wasn't.
But I'm
There were
very sure
challenges.
most of them can relate.
Yeah, there were challenges. And I think it's also definitely harsher on girls than boys because, you know, girls' schools will definitely be more strict and all those things.
Yes.
But yeah.
But I also think it's a fundamental area to talk about that many people overlook, because had many of us had people who were intentional about mentoring us and holding our hands then, I'm very sure many of us wouldn't be where we are now. We'd be way higher than where we are, because that's the time, those are your formative years. That's the time you're really discovering who you are, what you're about, what you like. If we are a bit more intentional about catching the girl at that stage, dealing with the uncertainties she faces at that stage, the identity crisis and emotional intelligence at that point, I believe we'll be able to have a completely different type of, like, your level of people at that time. I was having a conversation with my friend yesterday and she was like, Gen Z ndio kiboko yao. Because Gen Z, they are bold, they know what they want, they're outspoken, they are like, you won't stand on their head for nothing. Like, give them a hard time, absolutely no. But they've gotten there because in those formative years, nobody was standing up for them. Everybody was telling them what they need to be doing. You need to be studying, you need to be staying away from boys, you need to be staying away from having sex, you need to. It got to a point these kids realized, hiya, we need to be doing something all the time. What about us? What about what I want? What about my fears? What about my uncertainties? And that's why they're so. I don't know if you've worked with Gen Zs. Oh.
But you know, Gen Zs, it depends with the context because see, Gen Zs are just after us.
Yes.
Sindio?
Yes.
Like some of my classmates to go.
Yeah.
Bold.
They're in the middle.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Gen Z are very bold. We've spoken about high school. I know this wasn't supposed to be a conversation about high school, but as we conclude that the idea about high school,
Yeah.
I had a very bad experience as well. I don't know if you got to hear about it, what I was telling you, the experience I had with our very good principal. So for me, up to date, I don't know what I did wrong. Mine was I wrote a letter. I don't know if you remember that story. I wrote a letter to the principal very confidently.
Yeah.
Because if I thought there was something to hide, then it would have been anonymous.
Yes.
But I wrote a letter. I think I even signed. Because,
Yes.
you know, it's an official letter
Yes.
with my name. And I was just asking about certain things.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And it's not asking, like, questioning authority or anything like that. I was making suggestions on, what did we used to call them? Charges.
Yes.
Like having a better schedule for charges.
Yeah.
I was asking about earrings, if we
Yes.
can wear studs. I mean, they're just studs.
Yeah.
There were 4 things. I can't remember exactly what. But they had a hard time.
It got you a beating.
The slaps I ate. So I just feel like there was that environment.
Yeah.
Even when you're not saying anything bad, like you're shut down.
Yes.
So you don't have that confidence or
Yes.
that boldness
Yes.
to stand up for what
Yes.
is right.
Yes.
And that's true. Like Gen Zs have that
Yeah.
boldness, confidence, whether it's a boss, whether
Yeah.
it's someone in authority.
Yes.
It's not that you're disrespectful, but you know exactly
it's
what
not
you
working
deserve.
for
And
me.
you can stand
Yeah.
your ground. You can
Yes.
have a voice.
Yes.
So it's a nice thing. At least it's a nice thing.
Yeah.
That some people might not have to go through what we
Yes.
went through.
Yes. But we owe it to the people that come after us, be it our younger sisters or the children that we bring into this life, to ensure they have a completely different experience in all the nice ways and even the things that don't work out, to try and have a different way of navigating things that makes it easier as compared to going through the same. It's only a fool who does the same things and expects different results. So you're taking this girl through the same exact thing and you're expecting to have a different lot of girls. No, it's going to be hard. Yeah.
So I think that's enough about high school. I think we can never finish the conversation.
That's true.
But I think, thank goodness, one positive thing, got good grades, right?
Yes, got good grades, and I actually appreciated the place. I feel like first after 2020 and after the year that I just had in 2023, I feel like everything that I went through at that time
in high school,
gave
built
me
you
some crazy ass resilience that I feel like I can
serious grit.
do literally
You can do it.
everything. I had 1,000 girls looking at me zileza.
Yeah.
If you were able to go through that, what really can life throw at you and you can't be able to manage? So when I think about the girl of my dreams, and I think about the girl who's gotten herself this far to get to the girl of her dreams, I have to keep going.
Yeah.
There's no stopping, there's no going back. The only way is just up.
I like your spirit. It's
You
the same
better.
spirit, regardless of those challenges
Yeah.
along the way, those many years.
It's the same one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's really beautiful. There's a lot of trauma. I know a lot of people have a lot of trauma. But anyway, we are here now.
Yes.
So when you were saying about the challenges in life right now in your late 20s, 30s, because I feel like I have siblings who are in their 30s. I have friends as well who are a little older.
Yes.
I think the challenges are more or less similar.
Yes.
So career-wise, how has it been for you? You said you studied aviation.
Yes.
Then COVID happened.
Yes. And I went.
So what you envisioned versus the reality, how does it look?
Oh, well, it's a bit too far off extremes, but
Yeah.
we thank God because maybe the lessons that we have learned this far,
True.
we would not have learned. And I like the industry that I've delved into, the digital space. I love it. I really love social media. I love the dynamic nature of social media, that it's different in all ways. Every day there's something new. I love that. I love the hype. I also like the fact that I have been able to be in rooms that have really big people. I was sharing with you as we were coming that if there's something I have invested in as a person, I do not have a lot of papers like my peers, but I can believe if I remove my phone, I have way more networks than any other person I know who is my peer. Like, tukisema leo wekele simu yako hapa na niekele yangu hapa. So in my career, let's say because I didn't have the advantage of having a big educational background, had I pursued civil engineering.
But you know, it's very interesting when you say that, Sophie.
Yeah.
You're speaking like someone who didn't even go to campus. And you're saying people have these papers, and I feel that's just like
Karen,
a level above.
I don't have a degree. I got straight A's. I don't have a degree. What do I have to show for my straight A's? Absolutely.
But do you think
nothing.
is it a world that you'll go back to? Aviation?
Any day, even in my sleep.
Maybe you can combat a little, since you're not very conversant with that space. So what you studied, what was that?
Had I had
what was it? Was it a diploma?
Flying.
Was it
in flying?
What is
there's
it?
no diploma, there's no nini, you just have licenses. And what makes you grow in the flying industry is your hours. Hours as in the more time you're in the plane. It's recorded in a book. It's called a logbook. So the more hours you have in that logbook, the better a pilot you are, and the more you'll grow yourself to the biggest rank, which is becoming a captain. You start from being a first officer, then you go to being a captain. But had I had someone to mentor me at that time, they'd have told me, but then nothing stops you from flying a plane. Even you can fly a plane. Anybody can fly a plane. That's like there's nothing special about being a pilot. But had I had someone to tell me, end of something engineering kwanza, get the degree, then you come do aviation. Had I had someone sit me down and get me through the process, I think, but me at that time nilikuwa na maringo ya nimepata kwa nini niende nikakai 5 years nikisoma civil engineering na nimepata please no, mimi nataka kuwa pilot, that's my but even now you go for job interviews and someone's looking at your CV and they're like, Kwani, what happened? Like, do you know the number of times I've gotten that question?
That's very interesting, Sophie. Who would have thought that Sophie would feel a bit less when it comes to academic papers?
I feel super inferior, let me not lie to you. I dread interviews. I dread those conversations because of that one question. What happened to you? But it's just that one mistake that I did. Siku kubali hiyo nini ya kwenda tata nilitwa job JQuat. Like it was It was everything anybody could have ever dreamed of. But I didn't pursue it. Maybe because I didn't have someone to tell me the harsh truth.
Someone to guide you.
Yeah.
Like someone who can mentor you.
Exactly. And I was telling you in the car, you don't have to mentor the whole world. Like me, there's a girl, she lives in my neighborhood. We used to go to the same salon. So when I realized she's in Mahil, I decided I will be intentional with this girl. Like I'll take her like she's my sister. So I went. Every time she comes on holiday, I used to tell her, "You have to come. We meet for one day. We talk. You tell me what you're going through in school, and what your plan is." We did that the entire form 3, form 4. Do you know she got straight A's? I was so happy. I was like, I felt like that is mine, like ile kabisa. When she finished, we landed an application for Aga Khan. We talked, we had this conversation. She was like, I don't think my parents will be able to afford Aga Khan University. She was going to do medicine. Lakini Kisi University and Maseno, she'd been called to do nursing. Na kwenye alikuwa ameitwa kufanya pharmacy. She was like, that's not what I want to do, but we did the application process for Aga Khan. She landed a scholarship. She got inside. So you see, I feel like I'm intentional about ensuring somebody else. Even if I won't ensure 20 girls, I'll ensure one girl
person
doesn't make the same mistake I did. I'll be intentional with that. So imagine if in my class we were like 170 something girls. If 170 something caught one girl, that's 170 something more girls. This we pass down the tradition. You'll find that we'll save one girl from this hectic shame of. But then me nilikuwa mjanja. I realized, okay, I don't have the papers, but I have a mouth and I can look good. You know. So I'll make sure every single person who meets me and I meet them, I'll be so memorable to them they can't forget me. We'll have a nice conversation. So I have to keep myself up to date with what's going on in the world, what's going on in different ventures, in different facets of this world. You have to be knowledgeable so that if there's a conversation at the table, at least you can contribute. You have to put yourself out there, get yourself in the places where you can have conversations with people who can advance you. For instance, today, if I wanted to get you a guest here, it would be so easy. It's just a phone call. Hi, Miss Sophie. I really need you to do this for me. Can you do it? Yes, and that's it. You see, so I don't have what I would have wished to have, but the silver lining is I discovered so much about myself that I wouldn't have maybe if I would have been a civil engineer today or if I'd been KQ today, because as of right now, in my head in 2013, it's now
you
I'm
knew
supposed to be
2024.
traveling the world in New York. Kwanza, I'm a captain. Hello, this is your captain speaking. That would have been my vibe every day, lakini. Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting. You said when we were starting,
it's
something I've come to embrace, and I know it's a reality. Like it's so profound in my life. That we've said, like high school, for example, was tough. Throughout life, experienced a couple of challenges here and there. But the beautiful thing is, I don't know, there's some form of cover. I don't know, maybe that's what you call God or faith. But sometimes life just falls into place. It goes exactly the way it was supposed to go. You know, you might have thought, oh my God, now because I didn't perform so well, or because I haven't had the opportunity to do this thing that I really wanted to do, that my life is over. But it's not really. Like everything falls into place. And later you look back, you're like, as in, God had everything figured out. Like you are fighting, you are going through so much trouble, but everything falls into place. So it's beautiful that you think about it that way.
And you actually kind of become grateful for the journey, because I've learned a lot even about myself and what I can be able to conquer. And I think I'd be very spoiled and mean and not understanding of other people's journeys had I gotten everything I would have wanted exactly the way I wanted it to be. So now I'm a bit more humble. I'm a bit more understanding of people's struggles.
That's the thing. That's what I always say as well. That the fact that I've gone through certain struggles, especially mentally, there's life humbles you. You know, when people say life humbles you, like God makes it happen that in some way you go through an experience that shapes you. You know, so that you're able to be compassionate, you're understanding. You know, you don't think that you have everything figured out. I think it's important to go through something. It sort of finesses you.
That's true, because also of the mission that has been put on your shoulders.
Nothing can.
God has you see, to whom much is expected, much is given. Much to whom much is given, much is expected. And you have to be faithful with the little that you have been given for God to be able to take you to another level and another level. So if you're not faithful, even with this beautiful brain, yes, you didn't get every single opportunity that you'd have wanted, but I'm a smart girl. If I don't show God that I can use my smartness to navigate the issues of this life, how do you expect God to trust me with a whole county, a whole nation to lead? Absolutely no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you keep saying about the it's very interesting. I didn't ever think that I'd have a conversation with you where you're saying you feel inferior with your papers, but now that you're saying you've transitioned, let's say transitioned into a different space, the digital space, do you think you'd ever go back to school?
Yes.
Either aviation or something else, pursue something else? Because Sophie, you're talking like you're 70. And someone is like, you're not even 30, so you still have the opportunity to do whatever you want to. Do you see yourself going back to school
Definitely.
to pursue something?
Definitely. It's a big, 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 big priority in my life. But I'd wanted to go to school this year, but I've decided I want to buy a car first before I go back to school.
And that's okay.
So I can hold off on school kwanza, so that at least I get, because I feel like public transport wastes so much of your time. But let me tell you something, by the time I'm 35, I have to have gotten my master's at least.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to let people know it's never too late.
It's never too late.
And life, it's harder. It's definitely harder. You're older, you have more responsibilities. It's definitely crazier.
Yeah.
Because at a mimi, I've been thinking of doing my master's.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Kai, Saizi, I'm just saying. Recently, I was looking back, I was like, Kai, it's 5 years since I graduated. Like time is flying.
Yes.
So I know it gets hard and whatever, but it's doable. I think that's what is important to let people know. It's doable.
And for me, it's been 10 years. 10 years
since high school.
Of I don't have anything like,
For how long did you study the aviation thing?
I did it for 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
So that's just like a degree.
That's just like a degree, but if we were to sit here and apply for a government job and I have my licenses and you have your degree, let's just be honest, you'd be picked over me, you understand? But I'd like y'all to know that it's never too late. It's just what comes from within. And I'm grateful, because one reason why I was pro the opposition to be in government when they were campaigning is because they had said that experience can translate to being a degree.
It spoke to you.
Yeah. Seriously spoke to my situation. I was like, imagine I've been out of school for 10 years. So imagine how able guess how many years of working experience I have. I have like 9 years of working experience. So if that can translate into a documented thing that can be a degree, unadhani siwezi furahia? So that I stop getting that question for like, why don't you have a degree?
RPL.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. All the best as you plan to go back to school.
Thank you.
Because for me, my career is okay-ish.
Yeah.
I became exactly what I wanted to be.
Awesome.
I wanted to be an advocate since I was young,
Yeah.
And now I'm an advocate. Like, I actually do work that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sharing your experience. As in, it's interesting.
I hope with this that I can show, even when I was preparing to come onto your podcast.
Yeah.
I was telling myself, yes, I'm not 1000% maybe okay with where I'm at.
Where you'd like
but
to be.
I'll be as vulnerable as possible in order to inspire someone who's also feeling like they're not where they would have wanted to be.
And it is very important to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Because I think you might be struggling with feeling inadequate in that space. I might be struggling, feeling inadequate mentally, and it's good to talk about it so that people can know it's very normal.
Yeah.
It's okay. Trust me, in your late 20s, you've not figured out life. Maybe you're not even close.
Yeah.
As in, yes, you're doing things, you pay your bills, you go to work, You are a leader in different spaces.
Yeah.
But there's so much you haven't figured out, and it's okay. We don't have to make it sound like it's so easy. We are just cruising through life. It's very important for people to know.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you're sharing.
The cough.
Pole.
It's got
Hadi
me.
your eyes are red. Aki pole.
Nilijua tu itakuja.
I think coffee itasema we should be concluding. Pole
Yeah.
Aki. Pole sana.
Usijali. And I think that's why I asked you, what do you want to achieve from this episode?
Yeah.
Because I was like, if you want to inspire someone to own their story, you have the right person.
As in, it's good to be real.
Yeah.
We're good, Henry. So you're saying, Sophie, it's nice to be grateful. I think for me, in my mental wellness journey, if I would call it that, a big part of it is also learning to have a heart of gratitude. Because things are very difficult. Aki akianza kukof, I can't because it's so persistent.
So I think
Sorry.
when she's coughing,
Yeah.
pause so that I can.
Exactly. Because sana shanga niendelee, is it too much? Niache? I just pause.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because nime get emotional.
No. Ime mix the cough and the...
And the emotion.
I know.
It's like situation I feel too. Key wave. It's okay. Let's go on. I'm okay now.
You're okay. So I was saying, you spoke about gratitude. For me, in my journey to be mentally well and just okay, I've learned that gratitude is really a big part of it. What would you say about gratitude? Like, you acknowledge you've made mistakes. You're not exactly where you'd like to be.
Yeah.
But you appreciate what you have now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
I feel like in my journey of gratitude, my support system has really contributed to that. Courtesy of what I've gone through in life, it's made me kind of like a closed person. Yes, I'm an extrovert. I'm extremely extroverted. I'm extremely loud.
True.
I'm extremely the person who you will not notice in the room because of my loud mouth.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like personal connection and relationship, I'm actually very conserved and very careful of who I let into my space. So, but it is good to note that many of my friendships, my friends from high school and my friends from my neighborhood as I was growing up.
Since you're young.
So one of my friends really, really, really had a hard time trying to pull me out of my hole for 2023. And the biggest thing she kept reminding me is gratitude. You don't have to be grateful for something big like a house, like a car. No, Sophie. Be grateful you've woken up today. You and your kids are fine. You have food to eat. Go to bed. Be grateful for that. She kept challenging me. You don't have to be okay, just be grateful. You don't have to be okay, just be... I know it's hard, just be grateful. I know that... And kidogo, slowly in my rock bottom part, I found myself, the gratitude was becoming a thing. So these days, because especially of how things are, like, umepata thao na ni kama hauna hiyo thao, because ukishavunja hiyo thao ni hivyo imeisha, like, you know,
ukishavunja, it's gone.
That's it.
Sometimes I even prefer having money on my phone.
Exactly, because you don't feel the pain, you know.
Yeah.
And because everything as close as the money that you have is showing you have no reason to be grateful. Imagine gratitude is what will keep you, you know, the girl of your dreams. Gratitude is what will keep you in sync with that girl of your dreams. Because I have 9 years of experience. You don't have 9 years of experience. I have 9 years of experience. So you have a degree, I don't have a degree. But I have 9 years of experience. You don't have 9 years of experience. So there's something at the end of the day I have, you don't have, that I can be grateful for. I have big networks. I'm an outspoken person. I'm easily, like, I learn things so easily. There are things I can be grateful for. And when I'm grateful for those things, I'm able to see them as my strength, and I'm able to use them to get ahead. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you choose to and I feel like we were having the conversation about suicide earlier, but I feel like depression or the lack of it is a choice. Every day there's something that is giving you reason to be sad. Every day there's something small that is giving you a reason to be happy. Whatever you choose to focus on is the direction in which your life will go. So if you choose to focus on these negative thoughts, eventually you will see no reason to live. But if you choose to focus on that one thing, and even if it is my baby's smile or her laugh, or my son telling me you're my best friend, even though it's just that one thing that keeps you going, you have to try so much to be in sync with your inner self, that you're able to be. You see, when you're in sync with your inner self, you're able to notice the way I was yesterday is not the way I am today. The way I was just, you get.
Yeah.
The place I was in my mind is like, for me, I've realized in 2023 I wasn't okay. Now I'm okay. So I'm grateful for that nimetoka from that dark hole. Now slowly I'm going towards where the light is. And if we choose to have that perspective in this life, there's nothing that will bring us down.
I don't want to say that nothing can change the course of your life.
Yeah.
But so long as you're still working towards being what you want to do, I feel like God already predestined something, and it will always be, So it's interesting to hear you speak about your difficult experiences. And I'm just telling you, like, since I met you, I knew you were a big deal, So I'm just like, and I know you'll still be. So as in, when you're in that space yourself, it might feel overwhelming and so big. But I think it's some consolation, and it's very comforting to know that. As in, even if no one else does, even you yourself, sometimes you question yourself, as in, God is always there, He's always got your back 100%.
Yes.
If you just keep that faith kidogo, eventually you'll come back on top.
It works out eventually. So I may not even right now be where I want to be.
Absolutely.
But that's what we're living for. The faith that it's all going to work out.
Yeah, about mental wellness, my thoughts about mental wellness and mental illness.
Yeah.
So I might not agree with you 100%. Though I agree it's a choice. Because even whether you're going for therapy or pursuing other ways to get well, you see a lot of it is still you. Like, you have to decide that you want to be better and make effort towards it. But at the same time, when you say choice, kuna pahali hatu agree 100%. Because sometimes I think it's beyond people's control.
Yes.
But I agree. Sometimes you just have to make that choice. Like, you've been dealt difficult cards, but now you're here. So there's no other way but to get yourself on top.
But at the end of the day, once you understand that nobody, including life, owes you anything, that's the time you'll start fighting for yourself. That you realize, you'll be told that ukikufa si after 2 weeks life yangu itako imeendelea, unaona. Like, when people tell you such things, okay, you think they're mean, but in real sense they're just telling you, I don't owe you anything, and this life doesn't owe you anything. So you have to fight for yourself. Even with the little as a conversation we're having with you, an interaction we're having with you, Karen, you always have to think, what's in it for me? What am I gaining? Am I going home a winner? Yes or no? If you're not going home a winner, please pack your bags and go. Because you're not, the minute you allow yourself to be in spaces where you're constantly giving and not getting anything from it, it's the biggest beginning of your failure. Always put yourself in a position where you're a winner at the end of the day. Let them say you're selfish, let them say you're mean, but at the end of the day, I go home a winner. You'll always be happy. Lakini if you give people leverage over you all the time, by the time you realize you have nothing else to give, it's too late. You're drowning, you're sinking. Maybe you'll turn to drugs. Maybe you'll do something weird. But before you get to that point, you need to just fight for yourself.
Yeah, you need to fight for your space. Nothing is given. Life is tough. Like, you have to go. Everything is earned. That's true. Everything is earned. Hard work.
Yes.
The cliches of
hard to be hard work.
Yeah.
It can be smart work,
but you see, smart work, okay. But you see, smart work still has an aspect of hard work. Like, you have to invest something.
Yeah, to a
You know, my
level
boss tells me,
extent.
my boss is a woman, and there's a time she told me, it pays nothing to be nice.
Yeah.
And she wasn't saying like be a bitch or be whatever, but it's just like
Yeah.
focus on what you want and go for it. Like, don't care about what people say, what people think.
Yes.
Because oftentimes, especially for women, I don't know if it's the same for men,
Yes.
we tend to be very conscious, like tend to care. If I do
Yeah.
this, how does Sophie
How
feel?
does she feel?
That's me. I'm always concerned, like how does this person feel? So like I'm not saying be a bitch or anything like that, but you have to put yourself first.
Yeah, if you
Because
keep
there's
thinking
no
like
one
that,
else,
Karen,
there's
you'll
no one
fail.
else who's here for you. Eh?
If you keep thinking like that, your relationships will fail, your career will fail,
Yeah.
because you'll get stuck at one position for so long. Your relationships will fail because this person, you'll end up getting used because
Yeah,
you're giving
you give
too
too much. It's a balance I'm trying to
Exactly.
strike.
Exactly.
I often say, like, for most people and for me,
Yeah.
your greatest weakness and your greatest strength are just two sides
Yeah.
of the same coin,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find that balance, like, where to use that side of me
Yeah.
and also not overdo it, because you are not born to take care of everyone,
True.
Like, even the purpose or the idea behind starting this podcast was to be able to be impactful,
Yeah.
So that's something that I'll always carry. It's a
Yeah.
burden,
Yeah.
a calling that I know I have upon my life. But I have to put myself first and fight for myself because nothing is given.
True.
Yeah, that's the biggest reality
And
I think
nice
I've
girls-
experienced as an adult.
Nice girls don't get the corner office. There's a reason why.
Nice
like we
girls
said.
don't get the corner office, and nice guys I think finish last.
Yes.
Ama inasemaje?
Yes. And as we go through this conversation and come to a conclusion,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question? Where do you see yourself in like 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years is short.
Yeah.
But the thing that screams for me when you say 2 years is this podcast.
Yeah.
I see this podcast grown. I was telling you earlier, I feel like I was overthinking. Overthinking is always my biggest struggle.
Yeah.
Like I want certain quality of, I want everything to be very specific. But this year, I'm working on being more consistent. So one of the things that my mind goes to is that this podcast will be reaching a wider audience.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to speak to a wide range of issues. I'm passionate about very many things.
Yeah.
So 2 years, I hope the podcast will have a wide audience.
Yeah.
I don't want to attach a number to it. You're
Yeah.
the digital strategist. Yeah. But I think podcast, yes. Spiritually, I have certain things I'm trying to achieve as well. It's interesting. And I love the way you're talking about spiritual God. Because for me, I'm in a place where I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Spiritually, faith-wise. So I'd hope that in the next 2 years as well, because this year I am focusing on being actionable.
Yeah.
That's what I've set out for the year. Like for me, this is the year of action.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking I'm not good enough in this, or this is not working very well, but what can I do instead of just thinking about it?
Yeah.
So even with regards to my faith, I'm exploring some things like some discipleship, like going back to the basic, because sometimes it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think the two things that stick out the most is spiritually and for this podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that. And I believe when you begin to see things from a shorter length, you're able to have a broader perspective, because we want to see ourselves 10 years from now. But if I think it's been 10 years since I finished school, where I would have wanted to be is not where
It's not there.
So now I have learned to see myself with a shorter lens for the broader future. So 2 years from now, what do I want to do? I want to at least have enrolled myself in school so that I can work towards enriching my papers. 2 years from now, I want to be able to have grown myself as a digital strategist, to grow my presence in that area. 2 years from now, I want to have gotten myself family, like my kids can have one farm thing they can hold on to. Like people are dying at 30, so at least by the time I'm 30,
it's good to be prepared.
And to have that one small thing, and this way I'm able to ensure, you see, like I'm able now to see 5 years from the 2 years, that I've quantified for myself.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that. I think I also think the same, maybe just a different way.
Yeah.
Because for me, I always think yearly.
Yes.
So when the year starts and I'm writing down my prayer items or resolutions, I'm always thinking like things that I can action within that year.
Yes.
Things that tangible,
Yes.
not just like a general idea of something.
Yes.
You see, there you're saying if you want to advance yourself, you have to do this.
Yes.
If I want to act on my spirituality, like what am I doing
Yes.
towards it?
The small steps.
Something that, a
Yes.
step that you can action, not just saying of things broadly,
Eh.
like in the next 10 years,
Eh.
I'll be here, I'll be
Eh.
doing this.
Yeah.
So I agree with that approach. I do mine yearly. So even for this year, I have a number of things I've written down. But what I also realized with having short-term goals, it helps because now my list doesn't have 100 things that I want to do.
Yes.
It's narrowed down.
Yes.
And it's more focused.
Yes.
The approach is more focused.
Yes.
I know exactly what I want
Yes.
out of 2024.
Yes. And you're able to go down ticking.
Yes. And you assess yourself. I like assessing myself.
Yes.
So I assess myself like at different times. I try to do it quarterly,
Yes.
so that like it keeps me on my toes.
Yes.
I remember,
Yes.
I haven't done this and
Yes.
this. Yeah.
I like that. And that's your way of being in connection with the girl of your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay. So as we conclude, Sophie, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to say.
I think I always wonder what I'd tell a 16-year-old girl today. Having gone through all those years of being out of school and wondering, really, was all the hype and all the craziness we were made to go through back then, was it worth it? I think I'd want to tell a young girl, not even a girl my age, a girl who's 15, who's 16 right now, that it's worth it. It's a journey. It's scary. Things may not even go your way most times, but there's a reason why you're in this world. And once you discover that reason, you're able to keep going. So whatever comes your way, don't think it's your fault that you're going through whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm the reason why maybe my parents are fighting. I'm the reason why my parents don't love me. I'm the reason why I haven't made it, or every time I go for an interview, I'm not accepted. No, it has absolutely nothing to do with you, but everything to do with just how the world is. So once you invest in connecting with yourself, knowing yourself, learning yourself, you're able to escape things like quarter life crises because you know yourself, you've connected with yourself. So invest in your wellness, in your own wellness as early as when you're 15, when you're 16. Do things you like. Invest in just knowing yourself, and that way you'll be able to navigate whatever side shows life brings at you because you're familiar with yourself. And also surround yourself with people who appreciate you for you. I don't have to fake it. Karen, I don't wear makeup. I'm on your podcast without makeup. That's just me. You see, as in, find things about you that are just you and associate yourself with people who are crazy for that person that is you. Because I can say I have less than 5 friends, but the 5 friends I have are equivalent to 100 friends because these guys are so crazy about me and what I have to offer and bring to the table. I feel so loved. I feel like I have 100 people on my side, yet I have less than 5 friends.
Yeah.
So having a connection with yourself, for me, is the biggest message I can give a young girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
But I'm proud of you.
I agree. Before you say something else.
Yeah.
I agree because everything we've said, whether it's about education, life, I think the only thing I'd say for me that has enabled me to be here today and where I am doing everything that I do is having that strong sense of self.
Yes.
Like knowing exactly who you are.
Yes.
Like you'll experience so many challenges and so many hurdles.
Yeah.
Like life keeps throwing stuff at you every day. Every day you wake up as an adult, it's a new battle.
And everybody expects something from you.
Exactly.
Your boss expects you to be this person. Your mother,
nothing
your
stops,
father, your
and you have to
children,
wear
your
many
husband.
hats. You wear very many hats.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with you, and your message is very powerful, like having that strong sense of self.
Yeah.
And education is nice and all those things. But that's why for me, as we were saying about the formative years, I think the greatest gift you give to someone at that age is to help them appreciate themselves, and how to build that person up, Yeah. So I think as well, being a good support system, reassuring people. Yeah.
And showing kindness. Yeah.
Yeah, but I interrupted you. What else do you want to say
I
before
wanted
we
to tell you,
close?
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of this journey that you've chosen to undertake. And
Thank you.
I'd only wish you'd believe in yourself just a little bit more. You won't miss a week of posting. You won't
That's
miss...
interesting because as we are saying, a strong sense of self, and I think you can already read it for me. I feel like the only thing, I know I've gone through difficult experiences in life, some things that I can't control.
Yeah.
But I feel like the only thing that stands between me and my dreams is just
It's
me.
you.
That self-doubt,
Yeah.
all those things. So I agree with you.
Thinking.
Exactly. Like I'm just my
Your
biggest
own enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the person who... And the devil knows that, and that's why he capitalizes those thoughts of doubt and overthinking. So even if you're not finding a guest for this podcast, create first a podcast where you're having a conversation
Exactly. That's what we're doing.
with us. But just don't miss a week of posting. And you'll quantify your growth from what you have now to what you'll be in December. Every single day you've posted, you'll be shocked.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know we've talked about so much. Our time is up, but thank you so much for coming.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, I hope you can come again.
Of course, definitely. Next conversation, I hope we can have a conversation about the youth and our role in
Or those things that you're passionate about. Yeah.
I think you can call me for those ones. And definitely, and I promise you this time, I won't take as long as this time.
Not 6 months before you get here.
No.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
And you also have something coming.
Yes.
I saw on your socials.
Yeah. Yes. I'm on the verge of starting a podcast, working around my budget. The name of my podcast will be Blatantly Speaking. Blatantly is like you say something as it is. If it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah.
If it's working, it's working. And for me, it goes around for like telling the truth even when nobody wants to hear the truth. So comes from politics, girls, things, relationships, anything, but just to be as blunt as possible. That should be the space. Yeah.
That's amazing. We look forward to that. So thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I hope like we've spoken to someone.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So there's a lot of pressure. I know relationships is what we haven't said. I think we should also slot some time to talk about.
Definitely. We'll talk about those ones.
Because that's also a big part of the pressure of getting to your 30s or whatever.
You're not married, you don't have kids. No.
But at least Sophie has to. Some of us, we don't know if we want them to begin.
It's allowed. It's allowed. It's allowed. Motherhood is not for everybody. That's for sure. Motherhood is not for everyone. You don't have to want kids. No, it's okay not to want them. Let me, I don't want anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mtosheka.
Yeah, I'm done.
Sawa. So thank you guys for listening. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube. I'm planning to be more active on my socials as well. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well.
My social media handles, I go by Njehia Sophie or Mogure Njehia on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And to be serious about LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn.
Bye.
Bye.